Hello and welcome to Pantheon of the Geeks. You join us for the sixth instalment of the Massive Darkness painting sesh. This is Sibyl, who I'm going to be painting, and I'm going to first start off with Incubi Darkness because her clothes are very forest, very green, so I'm going to build up the green from Incubi and see how that goes. So I'll be back with you when I've finished painting. So here we have Sibyl. Again, we've covered her in the Incubi Darkness all the way around. So next I'm going to do Coelia Green Shade and ink over the Incubi Darkness. So I'll come back when I've done that. So here we have Sibyl, and I'm going to be covering some of her cloak and top half of the bodice in Calabyte Green. So obviously I want to leave a bit of the Incubi Darkness at the bottom and then blend it up, going up towards her bodice in Calabyte Green. So I'll be back when I've done that. So with Sibyl, I've now done the Calabyte Green and just ever so slightly shaded it in, so I've still got some of the Incubi Darkness at the bottom. So it's like blending in. What I have done is I have done a bodice in Calabyte Green, and what I'm going to do next is put on some Saberite Green on the bodice at the top and then blend that in over the Calabyte Green, so I've still got some of that showing through, so it's all blending into the very darkest green at the bottom. So I'll be back when I've done that. So here's Sibyl. So I've done the Saberite Green on there, all the way along. Yeah. So next what I'm going to do is Bealtan Green and Larmian Medium, mix 2/3 together and just go over the bodice and just the top parts of it and try and bring out some of the definition again. So I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, so for Sibyl, I've just done the highlight of the Bealtan and Larmian on her tunic and cloak. So that's turned out looking like that. Quite nice now. So next I'm going to do a 50-50 split of Administratum Grey and Saberite Green, just to bring out a little bit more highlighting on the tunic to lighten it up a bit. So I'll be back when I've done that. Right, so I've highlighted with the 50-50 of Administratum Grey and Saberite Green just on the tunic. So what I'm going to do now is the arms and legs with Administratum Grey, because she's got like a little thin tunic underneath. So I'll be back when I've done that. So here's Sibyl. So we've got the Administratum Grey on the arms now and also the legs. So what I'm going to do now is use my mix of 50-50 Bealtan Grey, sorry, Bealtan Green even, and the Larmian, and just go over the grey very lightly to bring that up. Okay, so here's Sibyl, and I've done the inking on the arms and on the legs. So we've got that nice grey greeny look going there. I'm going to leave that as it is because I'm really happy with how that's turned out. I don't think I need to do any highlighting on that. So what I'm going to do next is start on the boots and also the quiver at the back. So for that I'm going to do that in Mournfang Brown. So I'll be back when I've done that. Here's Sibyl. So I've done her boots in Mournfang. I've also done the belt as well and the scabbard of the sword. I've also done her quiver in Mournfang as well. So what I'm going to do next is just ink that in Agrax Earthshade and give it more of a browny, earthy effect. So I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, so Sibyl's now being washed with Agrax. I've highlighted the brown on the boots and the belt and also on the quiver. So what I'm going to do now is put a little highlight of Scrag Brown, try and pick out some of the bits on the back of her quiver quiver where she's got a bit of detail and just highlight the boots up a little bit. What I'm also going to do is use lead belcher just on the end of the sword tip at the end where the scabbard's got like a silver sheath, and I'll just do the hilt of the sword as well. So I'll be back when I've done that. So I've come back with the boots done in scrag brown and highlighted the belt. Done a bit of the sheath in lead belcher. I've just picked out the detail on the bow, on the quiver, sorry, with scrag brown. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use dryad bark and racar flesh just to finish off the arrows. So I'm going to use dryad bark on the shafts of the arrows and racar flesh on the feathers, the tips of the arrows. So I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, so I've done the dryad bark on the back of the quiver. So the shaft I've done in dryad bark and the feathers I've done in racar flesh. I also decided to do the bow in dryad bark as well. So what I'm going to do is just highlight that up with Nuln Oil now to make it look darker. I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, so I've highlighted in Nuln Oil the feathers and the arrows just to give them a bit of definition. I've also on the bow, if you can see that, I've just gone over the bindings in racar flesh as well, just to bring out those bindings. She's got a little bit of rope around there. So what I'm going to do next is do the flesh in racar flesh. So I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, so I've put racar flesh on the face and hands. So next I'm going to put Reichland flesh shade on that and bring the tone out a little bit. So I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, so I've done the Reichland flesh shade over the pallid witch flesh, sorry, racar flesh. And what I'm going to use next is pallid witch flesh just to highlight up the skin. So I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, so here's Sibyl. So I've just highlighted the face with a little bit of pallid witch flesh, and the eyes I've done in pallid witch flesh and Nuln Oil. So I've used pallid witch flesh and, sorry, a Baden black. So there you go. So all I need to do now on this is the hair. So for that I'm just going to use a Baden black, and then to gloss it up a bit I'm going to use Nuln Oil gloss. And then for the base I'm going to use Astra Granite, put Nuln Oil over that, and then highlight that with pallid witch flesh. So I'll do that all in one go and I'll come back when she's finished. So here is Sibyl finished and ready and raring to go through the dungeon with her mates. So there we go. So all I've done on the base is put some Astra Granite on there, washed that with Nuln Oil, and then highlighted with pallid witch flesh. And around the rim of the base I've done that in dryad bark. So there we go. So I hope you found this video useful. Hope you've enjoyed watching it. Thanks for joining me. You can also please like and subscribe because it helps us out loads. You'll find us on Patreon and also on Facebook. So hope to see you soon. Bye for now.